So that I can fix it in those areas of my life that I resist in. Because what the word is designed to do is bring us all to complete submission and then guide us to completion. And so therefore, if I hear the word and leave here and say, oh boy, wasn't that a good word? Oh boy, didn't the preacher preach? And then I fail to cause that word to become part of my fire witness. If I fail to cause that word to restrict or restrain those areas in my life where I'm weak, then the word is null and void to me. And it has nothing to do with God's ability to cause the word to accomplish. See, what we've got to understand is that we know so much more than what we do. And the enemy is not afraid of what we know. He doesn't care that we can quote and recite. He does not even care that we have a faith testimony. Doesn't care that we are a witness for the Lord. The problem that Satan has is when the fire accompanies the witness. A lot of us have different strengths and weaknesses. And so what we need to learn is that no matter where we are in our faith, we are weak. Am I talking to some real people? We are weak. Yet my mom and my daddy taught me what was right and what was wrong. But when I growed up, I did what I want to do, so consequently I did what was wrong. What because I didn't know what was right. Somebody talk. When the Lord got a hold of me, then I had to start paying attention to that area in my life that would resist doing what was right. You told your children, you taught them, and if you had more than 1 or 2 poor children, not all of them will do what you know they know is right to them. Am I talking? Consequently, there's a principle here which really simply states that only the Spirit constrains. The Spirit restrains. And so without the Spirit of the living God, there is no way to accomplish what you know how to do. Paul says it like this. He says, when I would do good, evil is present. But listen, he's not talking about the evil outside of himself. He says evil is present with me. Yeah, we stand and we preach. Y'all ain't talking because we got a gift to it. Because we've been called before the foundation of the world. When God called Jeremiah, he was just a little lad. He said, Jerry, I'm going to 20th chapter, but we got to understand who Jeremiah is. Hallelujah. And so you got to realize you can raise your children. And you know from the little bitty rocks of their cradles you've been teaching, you've been bringing them to church. Not everybody send their kids. Some of us would take it out. And then after a while, you know, it just became challenging for them to continue. And this is what we see now happening to Jeremiah. Jeremiah is challenged because the words that God gave Jeremiah was ordained to produce change. When you start talking to people about change, many people won't deal with you because they've already gotten their lives arranged to the degree where they don't want you imposing against what they have become comfortable with. I heard a preacher say in Milwaukee that when you invite somebody in your house, they don't just go on through the front door to the kitchen and open your refrigerator. When you open the door and invite somebody in, they're supposed to stay there until you have asked them to have a seat. And so you don't just invite folk in to roam through the confounds of your personal life. And so what Jerry was ordained to do was to cause the people of God to become uneasy about their easy. Am I talking to somebody? Hallelujah. Yeah. I come to bring you an uneasy about your easy. Hallelujah. How many of you want God to bless you to the degree that even your enemies know God's blessing? God told me on this year, he says, girl, I got such a phenomenal blessing. I'm going to wait till all your enemies get together and then I'm going to impart. He says, I'm going to bless you where your enemies see you get the blessing. See, I know you ain't got no enemies. I got some folk who say they my friends, but I know they. And sometimes when God gives you the kind of word that challenges change, people are trying to get connected to you so they can distract you away from what God says. And so what's happening with Jeremiah is tired of being the kind of prophet that is prophesying judgment. Are you listening to me? See, when you have a real intense anointing over your life and God begins to speak a word, that word is designed to produce something in you. And if you don't yield to what it's designed to produce, it'll cause something on the opposite spectrum of that production in the negative realm to be manifested in you. And so they were mad at Jerry. And like they mad at you, there's some folk mad at you, even some of your family folks. Hallelujah. They stop speaking because you trying to walk it out. They tell you that now all of a sudden, since you in the house, you got saved and God's giving you a word to learn how to walk in the kingdom through the Spirit. They said, now you think you more than them. Maybe you don't have folk who are connected to you. That smile in your face but got a daddy for your back. Jerry had those kinds of experiences. But Jeremiah said, I'm tired of that now, God. You gave me too hard of an assignment. How many of you feel sometimes the assignment is just too hard? I've been preaching for